guys. So what we're doing today, as you can see, I already got the car all up on jack stands. So I got a package a couple days ago. We're gonna check that out really quick, and then I'm gonna explain what's going on and why the car's up on jack stands. Nothing's wrong with it. Runs, drives, all that fun stuff, but we're gonna be upgrading it, and we got a special package, so let's check it out. So we got a package here from Annex Racing, homies down in California. We're gonna be switching to their suspension. Currently we have T3 stuff underneath the car, all AE86, and we're gonna do a side-by-side comparison and kind of explaining the reason why I'm going from one to the other. But first we'll check out this stuff in this box and take a look at it. I've already opened it just to make sure nothing was damaged. So here we go. So we got 7K Swift upgrade springs for the front. You can see this stuff comes with spindles, brand new, roll center correctors, top hats, super beefy. I can't remember how many adjustments, but I think it's like 22 or 24, something like that, for all the dampening and stuff. 7K Swift springs, like I just said. Got some little red accent pieces in there. And this is, I believe they're like street track version. So first of all, the one thing that I do like about this is I can adjust the ride height with this collar down here, and I can set my preload. So we'll get into that a little bit later in the video. This video is just going to be about checking these out in person, not next to the T3s, and then we're going to have a video with both the Annex and T3s side by side, so look forward to that. So let's check out the rears really quick. So we got there, I was talking to Battle Garage, because they do all the stuff for Annex and shipping and stuff like that, and they have like a good reference for spring rates and stuff. So we got like a progressive style spring that they recommended, so it should be pretty decent for the street, and then get harder as we start ripping and going sideways. The shock tower is definitely a little bit taller, so it should clear and not have any binding issues against the TE72 chassis. But nice pretty shocks. So like I said, we'll put everything side by side with the T3 stuff. Right now today the goal is just to get everything off the car, so we're gonna start doing that, and just watch and enjoy. Push on the pedal so you can break the stuff loose. Work it out. Side kick. Little side kick to that. Two bolts and they're out. All right. Now we gotta move on to the front. What, 2 bolts underneath?
3 up top.
3 up top.
And the brake line clip.
Which mine is just zip tied, so it should be pretty easy. cutting to a new day. So the last clips you guys should have seen was us taking off the rear, and I believe a quick little montage of the front coilovers. So we got the T3s all completely taken off the car at this point. Jordan, or at J-Slide, he isn't here today to help out, which is okay. He helped me we got one set of the Annex Racing on the car and test fitted, so now we can see what it looks like on the car versus the T3 stuff, or I'm assuming you guys would be running T3 stuff or whatever it is that you guys got. But you guys, if you want to know what the T3 stuff looks like on the car, just go follow my Instagram at Royal Madman. Little shameless plug. But there's plenty of content on the T3 suspension, so I didn't really deem it necessary to cover it. So we got the Annex bolted on the car, so we'll take a look at that. And then I actually have the T3 and the Annex both front and rear side by side, so we're going to look at that right now. Okay, so hopefully you guys can hear me because I'm behind the camera. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at, this has still got the hub and the brake rotor on it, so it's a little bit heavy. So I want to do the fronts first so I don't have to pick them up. I just want to mention that this is a do-it-yourself kit. So the biggest thing, everyone keeps saying that the Hyperco coils are comparable. I liked it better. If you didn't upgrade from Swifts, you got E-box springs. Now I kept all my E-box springs, but when I got this set, they sent me Hypercoil, so I don't really care for that. But the biggest noticeable thing that you'll see here between these two is this gap right here. This is my ride height for the car. And like the fenders and everything was made, basically the ride height was based on the wheels, and the fenders were made based on the ride height and the wheel combination. So this is the ride height, and as you can see here, this is my biggest complaint. This is why I'm actually changing. There's a couple other little reasons, but this is the biggest thing. I can't set preload. There's no way to set preload with this. You only got one collar, and basically set your ride height, and you got some adjustment for dampening up here. I believe it's 4, but that's pretty much it for the front for adjustment. So like I said, they work really good for cruising and freaking, you know, some light spirited driving. But when you're beating on your car every single weekend and you want to play with your suspension to kind of dial it in on how you drive, it's pretty much time for something more. So, and then the other thing is their first gen camber plates. I loved them because they had the studs put in, and these I just feel like a lack of trying here. Or, you know, I get it, it's to make it easier so people can order one set of top hats to fit this or fit that, but I would much rather have studs than just some bolts in there with, you know, slotted stuff. Other than that, their top hats are still super good. Other than running bolts in there instead of studs, I really don't have a complaint there. But biggest thing why I'm switching, this, no preload. I hate the droop, and I hate not being able to set my preload. Annex Racing. Other thing is when you purchase these, they come with roll center correctors. You don't have to buy those. You don't have to send in your old casing. They come with spindles. You can see here, you got a collar at the bottom. You can adjust the ride height. I got it adjusted down already. And then up here you have 2 collars, and you can set your preload. They got super big, they got like a dampening, like Teflon bushing in between. You can see these 2 red pieces, the like what would you call that? The pillow joint or pillow ball or whatever you want to call it. And then, I mean, top hats are just about as beefy as the T3. So they're pretty much comparable. It's just these have studs. So these are made for an 88.6, just so you know. I don't know if they have TE combinations. I think it depends on the year of your car if it will accept 88.6 top hats. So keep that in mind if you are looking out. Now these ones I went with the 7K upgraded Swift springs for the fronts. Okay, so hopefully you guys can hear me pretty good. So we'll start with these. We're going to look at the back of the car because a lot of the change that I like, the Annex versus the T3s. One, the same thing, preload, can't set preload, even on the back ones on the T3s. Basically ride height, and then you have 8 dampening adjustments right here. So, and then you have this top hat, and the height of the spring, and I'll show you on the car just the way that this is designed. You pretty much have to beat the underside of your car where the strut tower for the rear shock mounts, just underneath it. Usually there's a little lip. Most of the time you can get away with just bending that in. You'll end up rubbing paint off your coilover, which I guess isn't that. It ain't that bad. But biggest thing for the rear, you only got 8 dampening adjustments. And same thing, preload. Now you can see here, and I'll show you guys what they look like side by side on the ground. You can see that it's like a progressive spring. So I think the idea is, don't quote me on this, I don't 100% know. There's going to be a more in-depth video on this, driving the car, setting it up, and tuning the suspension. So look out for that coming super soon. Pretty much once these get on the car and I start driving it. We got 20, I believe it's 24, 25 dampening settings here. Progressive spring. So when you're just cruising around and stuff, it should be soft, and then as soon as you get on it or you get into a drift, it compresses and hardens up. So I think that's pretty neat. This is I didn't go with the Swift upgrades because I have my Swifts off the T3s, and I love that setup, but they suggested this, so I'm gonna go ahead and try it. Another thing is the bushings. You actually got collars that are made to fit the rear axles. My axle is a Corona axle that has 88.6 mounts welded onto it. So these are designed to sit on the mount with no play. So you don't have a bushing on there. So it's like solid mounting. And then as you can see, we got preload. You got ride height. And you got your preload setting. And you can see how much taller this like top hat is, which allows for clearance. So we'll take a look at these side by side. The other thing that I forgot to mention on the fronts you have the same amount of dampening adjustment as you do on the rear. So same style, just like that. It's like a fine 25 point dampening adjustment. I don't know if you can see the little plus and minus on there. I like the little red accents too. It's pretty neat. Bushings are a little bit beefier, bigger washer, bigger nuts. The whole rear just looks way beefier than the T3. White balance might be a hair off, so forgive me there. These are dirty. I don't plan on using them on anything anytime soon. So you can see the dampenings down there, and you can see the difference in the top hat like length. So you can see as this drops down there, because you're setting this to your ride height, as this drops down there, and then you have to, this thing has to like settle on the car. Right now it's stuck, which happens to me all the time. Pretty much 2 days will go by and then my spring will snap in place. And then T3 has a bushing here, and these things, I've popped out probably at least 6 of these stupid things and had to replace them. which is super annoying. So this is going to be cool. Pretty much set it in, don't have to mess with it. So here is what we're looking at for clearance. Only part I was kind of concerned about is my brake line. You can kind of see how close it is right there, but it is going to clear. And you can also see what I'm talking about. See, the spring doesn't come anywhere close to where this lip is, or where the tower up inside there, where you have to clearance for the T3 stuff, so you don't get a bunch of noise. Just sheerly from having this top hat taller. Hopefully you guys can see that. You can see the light going all the way around that. You can almost see my finger. Yeah, you can see my finger right there. So guys, that's gonna pretty much wrap up this video. The end, I wanted a little bit more talking because I really wanted to show you guys the Annex side by side with the T3. Not super specific, but the major difference is the preload for me. I pretty much just outgrew the T3 stuff when it comes to like my driving. I want more adjustment, and I want to be able to fine tune it. So that's why I'm doing it. And like I said, if you guys want to see more like tuning the suspension, my spring rates, what I end up going with, what's more comfortable and stuff for me, that is going to be in an upcoming video. So the more technical stuff and all the numbers and all that stupid stuff, I'm going to do all the research, put it all out on a graph. I think would be neat, so you guys can see what the Annex is capable of and what it does. So I'm pretty stoked to run them. I'm stoked to try that like progressive rear to see what it does compared to my Swifts. And plan now is toss this other side, the Annex, on. I'm going to rebuild my hubs and get all my stuff put back together and put the car back on the ground. I got some new inner and outer tie rods that I'm going to be trying. I think I have to do some modifications, so we'll talk about that when the car's all set up and we're driving it and we're testing everything. But thank you guys for checking out my freaking shenanigans. If you're interested, even before watching the next video on the Annex racing and suspension and the tuning of them, or the setup on my car when I get them done, check out @DriftRollers on Instagram. He's got a discount code if this is what you're kind of looking for. And I'm not going to bash on T3. They're awesome dudes. They're cool guys. They make an amazing product, and they do a good job. So if you're looking for something for cruising and just having fun on the weekends, there's nothing wrong with getting some T3 or Technotoy Coilovers. So I want to throw that out there too. But if you're looking for something a little bit more and more adjustment like I am, check out Annex, and then go hit up the homie @DriftRollers, like I said, and get that discount code. It is worth it, guys. And these guys are awesome. I believe they work with go through Battle Garage. I don't know who else they go through. And Battle Garage is also an awesome company. They do a lot of AE86 stuff and Corolla stuff. So support the homies. Peace out, guys.